Welcome back to the Alter Ego Bros. I'm Andy, that's Nick, and today we're going to be talking about Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Apparently, it's a horror movie. Before we tell you our ratings, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out a lot, and we're actually growing for once. I don't know if that's true or not, but... So with that said, I gave Lee Cronin's The Mummy a 10 out of 10. And I was actually really taken back by that, and I was really uncertain if I wanted to give that score because I feel like we've given it a little bit too many times this year, but I really didn't have too many places to fault it. There were some nitpicky things here and there, but as the overall movie went, I was just like, I can forgive some of these things. And ultimately, it really just reminded me of The Ring and how uneasy and creeped out I was when I first watched The Ring. And granted, I was a little kid, and here I am, a full-grown adult. I felt so uncomfortable the entire film, man. I was like, holy cow. I'll dive into some of those details later, but how did you score this one?
Well, I figured this was going to happen. I gave The Mummy a 2 out of 10. I did not enjoy this movie. I thought it was really, really lackluster and awful. I literally almost left the theater because I did not enjoy myself that much. I think that this movie robbed itself of its own uniqueness by becoming just another possession film. And honestly, if you're going in expecting any sort of Egyptian ties other than being in Egypt for like maybe 10-15 minutes total, it's just another possession film. Think The Conjuring Egypt edition.
Well, son of a bitch. This is gonna be a long video, isn't it? Okay, I guess we gotta talk about the story. I loved how they initially started off the movie. I thought it was super aggressive. It was fast paced. They threw a bunch at you in the beginning, and it just makes you wonder what the hell is even going on. And I swear it lasted not even just the first beginning like section for like 5 or 10 minutes, but almost like the first hour-ish. It really just kept pushing and pushing and keep throwing you into the deep end in all of these situations. It was very unapologetic about that, and I actually kind of like that about it. I dig the pacing in this, and some of the chaos that they throw in on you too is just absolutely crazy. Like that airplane just falling down. When I learned that it was a horror film, I was almost wondering if it was going to be a comedy horror film because of the way they initially approached it. I was like really thrown off by that, so it was kind of funny to me because I was like, oh, this is not an adventure film at all. I really thought the mummy look of the girl was really creepy. I wrote in my notes here, do not buy snacks, because I was just grossed out for the entire film. I did think though, and I bet you will allude to this, there were a lot of classic horror tropes. However, I did think that they did them in a way where it was just, it made sense and it worked. It wasn't too cliche, and some of that stuff is a little unbelievable, but I mean, the whole film is a fictional film, so like I can give it some of those leeways. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it just made me feel creepy. I thought the storyline made sense throughout the whole film. I thought it kept me intrigued the whole time, so I don't have a whole lot of complaints.
I'll handle that for you. One of the big things that I look for in especially horror movies, and I will admit I do judge horror movies a lot harsher than other movies because I think that they have a lot to prove, but with that comes great reward. Think of Sinners. That was 10 out of 10 horror movie for me. This one is literally like bottom of the barrel on my side. As a personal opinion, I loved Lee Cronin when he did Evil Dead Rise. I thought that movie was fun and gory and funny and very Sam Raimi. This one was just gross to be gross, and a lot of it just doesn't make sense. So that key that I'm looking for is consistency, and this did not have it whatsoever. You start off in Egypt. The father is a reporter, and it's like the best day of his life. And then, his daughter goes missing. He has no idea where she is. He kind of thinks he can find her at one point, but then of course there's a storm and nobody can find her. If he really were an investigative reporter, I can't say that. If he really were a reporter like he said he was.
Who investigates?
Who investigates? Why the fuck would he ever leave? He just kind of fucked off back to America with the rest of his family. Just cause. And then, of course, they end up finding his daughter back in Egypt again. And they're like, yeah, this plane went down and she just happened to be in there in a sarcophagus. All right. Yeah, she's pretty fucked up too. So you might want to just take her and get on out of here. Like, just as quick as possible. Just leave, please. It's like, what kind of hospital is this? And what kind of choices are these parents making? Like, number one, if that were to ever happen to anybody, they would not let you leave the hospital. Not at all. Number two, yeah, let's take her from a place that has universal health care. Let's bring her back to America, okay? Let's pay out the ass for that shit. And you're gonna have them live at home? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, let's do that. Woo! There was no reason to bring her back to America from Egypt other than they wanted to. They had to get back there to show spooky things happening in America. And it's like, okay, why are you calling this The Mummy? Where's all the Egypt stuff in this? Outside of that beginning part, you literally could have called this anything else and it would have worked. They're just writing off a name that people know and hoping, just like you, that they mistake it for the Mummy movies from 20 years ago about being like Indiana Jones style action adventure, and go into the movie and be like, oh shit, I'm set down for the wrong type of experience. And that's happening across the board. Like, it's not just you doing that. And I think that's a sneaky tactic. I think it was very underhanded. And I think that they left no integrity for themselves to actually like push the boundary of what we want from horror. Like I said at the top, they robbed themselves of their own uniqueness. It's called The Mummy. Let's do something with any sort of ancient Egyptian gods or devils or whatever you want to do. And they just throw in, oh, no, this beast was long before the Egyptian gods. You're just making shit up. And it might as well just be another Conjuring movie. And I was just, as soon as I realized that, I was done. It lasted way too long. The pacing was awful. It was literally dragging. I don't know where you think it was going fast, but there were several times where the movie could have ended. And I was like, okay, now we're in the climax. No, we're gonna spend a whole nother day doing some other bullshit thing that doesn't matter. Okay, now we're in the climax. Things are starting to happen. Nope. We're going to spend a whole nother day doing some more bullshit things that end up not mattering. And it just keeps going on and on and on, even to the point where at the very end of the movie, the very ending scene is fucking ridiculous, dude. What even was that? They end up going back to Egypt at the very end after a character that is like, oh yeah, she died. She totally died. Just kidding. She's not dead. And we didn't allude to that at all in any of this. So now we're going to make her suffer because we want to see more suffering in the movie. That's just all it was. And I was not having any part of it.
And that's going to put it at a 6 out of 10 on our tier list.
Even that's way too fucking high, dude. I did not like this movie. I'm gonna put a challenge flag on this one. This movie is not it.
If you're looking for realism, this movie sucks. I get that. But
even if you're looking for any sort of consistency, this movie fucking sucks. It's not that it wasn't real enough for me. It's that it just didn't do anything to ground you into the movie. It has you suspend your disbelief the entire time, and that's exhausting. Oh, you want to see some fucked up shit? Well, here's some fucked up shit. That's totally believable, right? No, it's not.
I went along for the ride and I enjoyed it. So I think
you didn't even know what ride you were getting on. Like, to be fair.
I know. Maybe that's what helped it. It's like once I figured it out, I was just like, all right, cool, and I was good with it. I don't want to debate too much because part of it is I don't want to edit a shit ton long video. I think we're just gonna have
clearly not a 10 out of 10.
No, because I think we're just gonna have to agree to disagree and call it there. Because I got like a 60-hour work week ahead of me, and I got a lot on my plate at the moment. So let's talk about some of the other aspects of it. One of those I mentioned was the CGI aspect, visual effects in general, so practical as well. The only real negative thought I had about some of the CGI and special effects was during that storm situation, that sandstorm in the beginning of the movie. Everyone's running around, including especially the dad, Charlie, who's trying to find his daughter and chase after his daughter. The gripe I had was with all of this sand, and it was a shit ton of sand, and it looked wonderful. I thought the animation in Sandstorm looked great, but nobody reacted as if sand was hitting their face at all. And there's Charlie just standing there wide open.
Because they didn't film it with a storm in mind.
Yeah, there's just sand hitting that. And that was like, I thought like, oh man, if this is how we're starting, this is going to be rough. I didn't end up having problems like that for the entirety of the movie after that. And because of how much I saw based on the aesthetic of The Mummy with the girl, I liked the environment of the house. There were so many other things that I really was keen on that I didn't let it hinder my score enough to bring it down at all. Yeah, I think there's plenty of points where I can get on your level and understand. I totally understand where your score comes from. I just didn't get to that point. So
special effects is actually the area that it did manage to get a point. I do think the special effects themselves were well executed and well done, but there was no sense behind them. They were just there to be gross and to make gross things happen. It wasn't real. My biggest gripe with the special effects was Katie. The more we learn about her, the more that we realize that there's actually stuff on her. There's actually like writing in like what's either really thin paper or other skin. They don't really tell you what it is, but she's got like layers upon layers of writing all over her body that's just like absorbed. And yet when it rips off, or at the very end when she's literally clawing her face, right after that she looks almost exactly the same as we see her right out of the sarcophagus. Like there was no evolution at all to her character. She looks exactly like she did towards the beginning of the movie that she does at the end of the movie. You got this demon in her being like, oh, I don't fit too well inside your child's body. It's like, you could have fooled me, dude. I don't see anything. When I think of something like that, I think of Men in Black, and I think of the giant alien bug and Vincent D'Onofrio's character, and he's like literally expanding out of his skin, and he's decaying over time, and you see all these things start falling off of him, and it's like, what? They could have done so much more, and it looks like they had the ability to, but they just didn't go for it. Another problem I had was,
I don't want to edit a shit ton long video.
I just technically executed well, but there was no reason behind it other than to be gross.
thanks for your opinion on the special effects. The last thing I want to get into, I think, is the music part of it, and I'll make it short. We'll see how Nick handles it. And I liked the music. I really thought it made me feel tense and uneasy the entire film, and it did not give a shit about your feelings at all, because there was no relief in the music until the very end. And I was like, Jesus, like at any point, can you give me like some relief in this tension? And the music said, no, you little pussy. And I said, okay, sorry. but I thought the score was grand, and I really thought that it really emphasized a lot of what I was seeing and then feeling. So I liked the score a lot, obviously, because of my overall score. Nick, why did you hate the music?
So the music was actually the other point that it got. I didn't hate the music. But I do want to talk about these supposed 10 out of 10 acting skills. The acting was awful and wooden, and just there was whiplash and no feeling behind any of these characters. The dad looked like at some point in rehearsal, the director said, hey man, you blink a little too much. And he took that personally. And so he kept his eyes like this the entire fucking movie. So he was always at this 10, even though nothing around him was happening. He's just, yeah. Oh, I got a new job. Great. Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm taking you guys to school. Awesome, dude. There was no range whatsoever in any of them. And I did like the mom. up until they had this random fight scene. There was no tension built between the husband and wife characters at all. And then just out of nowhere, in the middle of this fight, which wasn't even a real fight at the beginning, he's just like, hey man, I don't think we can do this ourselves. Clearly something is more wrong with her than we initially thought, and we might need to go get some help. And the mom, being a nurse, by the way, an awful fucking nurse, is like, what, you don't think I can take care of my baby? What, you don't think I can take care of my baby? Fuck you then, bro. And she like storms off out of nowhere, and it was like, oh yeah, well, I know you think I did this from the beginning and you fucking hate me, but actually it's you who's the bitch. And it's like, where did any of this come from? What is going on with all of this? And it was a slog. It was rough. I got a poster from the movie, but I didn't even fucking keep it, dude. I left it there in the chair.
One. What the hell?
No, it was a nice poster too. It was like on thick paper and glossy and all sorts. It was better than the normal poster. I was like, I fucking hate this thing, dude. This is not good. I couldn't do it.
I'll take it. So I think, for me, the acting, there isn't range. So the dad and the mom argument that you brought up, not range at all. It's like,
no, hey, you're doing that thing again where you take everything I say out of context. You're trying to make it look like I think Coolsville sucks. No, don't record that.
All Fred Jones had to say was,
I think Coolsville sucks.
I didn't have any problems with the acting. I even thought it was interesting to me too when the brother sees Katie for the first time, like his sister that he lost. Like, you think he'd be traumatized by it and like have something to say or have some sort of emotion. He was just paralyzed and had been paralyzed for a good chunk of the movie. Like, it took a very long time before he ever said anything to Katie at all. So to see that choice in the writing as well, I thought was very intriguing, because ultimately what it comes down to me is like, I don't judge people on how they end up grieving or how they end up handling these situations, because everyone's different. It's like, if that's what you need to do for yourself, go for it. Because I would have expected, if it was me, I'd want to say hi to Katie and let her know where I missed her. But because of like how he reacted and saw her and was just paralyzed by it, he didn't know what to say, because ultimately to him, it's like, that's not my sister. So I liked that. I don't know, anything else you want to get off your chest before we wrap this thing up?
Nope.
Cool. Let's take a look at a review online, because obviously don't just take our words for it, because we're just two regular dudes. So let's see what the internet has to say. Okay, so looking online, the audience scores this one about a 7.5 out of 10, closer to me. And critically, it's a 5 out of 10, which is, if you round up, it's closer to me again. So, since we're so divided, we're going to take a look at a review somebody left that was about right in the middle. Here's a 5 out of 10 that we found online. A good idea buried under cliched formulas and excessive gore. It had everything it needed to be different. Mummies, ancient rituals, a mythology rarely explored these days, but it chooses to take the easiest route possible, becoming just another possession movie in disguise. If you swap The Mummy for a generic exorcism, absolutely nothing changes. And that says a lot. It lacks any real identity, and the film feels more like a jumble of references than something original. That's where Plan B comes in. Gore. Lots of gore. At first, it even holds your attention, but it soon becomes excessive, and what was meant to cause discomfort starts to wear thin. No scares, no tension, just repetition. Lee Cronin even tries to replicate the energy of Evil Dead Rise, but without the same control. In the end, what's left is a movie that had a good idea and wasted it all.
I think this review is still too gracious for this movie, but I agree with the core ideas that, you know, it had something original. It had something that we don't see very often. And then it was like, you know what? Let's actually just give them what they see all the time. Every year there's a new Conjuring movie. Every year there's some sort of possession exorcism movie. That seems to be what the children like these days.
I think this does a great job of actually summarizing like our feelings together, because I don't necessarily disagree with any of this at all. What it boils down to me is, yes, there are basic tropes in this that you see in a lot of other horror movies, but the reason you see them in other horror movies is because, unfortunately, it works. And maybe some people are worn out by it. I guess, in particular, I'm not worn out by it. And in this movie, it worked for me.
I am going to say that time you were gone about 6 months ago when you were out on your Dave Matthews Band thing, and I watched like all fucking 9 Conjuring movies, that really did rub me the wrong way. I hated all of those movies, and that probably has a giant amount of why I hated this movie, because as soon as I recognized that that's what this was, and it wasn't any sort of anything to do with Mummy or Egypt, I was just dead flopping fish in my seat. I stayed, and I feel like I deserve a medal.
Very professional of you. You can edit in a medal yourself if you want to. Yeah, I think that's basically where it divides us. And then when you're wanting more ancient Egypt stuff, and I went in not knowing what this movie even was, so not really wanting that going into it, I didn't have that bias that made me hate this movie even more too. So I understand.
I wouldn't even say it's a bias. That's what they set up in the trailer. Like,
I don't remember the trailer. Yeah, so I get where our scores come from. I don't know if I'll include this in the video, but we'll just read it for the sake anyway. But also, since we are pretty divided, let's take a look at the Undivider and see what Gen X Jeff has to say. And Gen X Jeff, to Nick's demise, agrees with me and says that this is a 9 out of 10 for him. Scary, gory, great, yes! I miss Gen X Jeff. Gen X checking in. Wow. Best movie of the year so far, in my opinion. Great way to reboot a classic horror. Cinematography was A+, soundtrack was A+, the gore and scares were off the charts, very well done. I can't wait to see this again. Major Evil Dead and Exorcist vibes, but it's completely original. As a horror fan, this checks every box for me. Well done. We'll be seeing it again in the theater. Thank you, Lee Cronin. 9 out of 10. Well, I think that settles it. But that's going to wrap things up for us. I'm sorry that this was a very disappointing review for most of you. And for some of you who did like it, don't forget to like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And remember, we're just your regular dudes
doing regular reviews.
Oh, there's my pen.